So hi there, greetings back to you. I have an exciting papyrus in the background here today, namely the Codex Sinaiticus, which is a manuscript of great historical and religious significance. I have not yet found a video about it in the German-speaking area, and we are discussing one of the probably biggest Bible forgeries that we can possibly imagine at this point in time. And if that were confirmed, it would have significant implications for all the Bible texts we are familiar with at this time. Yeah, let's delve into that a bit more. In a little while. Yes, the Codex Sinaiticus is a forgery of the Bible. It is a notable historical artifact that raises questions about its authenticity and origins. According to Edwin Johnson's theses, the Christian Church originated in the writing rooms of the Benedictine monasteries in France, as stated by Johnson in his extensive research on the subject matter. Lyon and Paris, two cities in France, were both significant cultural centers around the year 1500. Based on his theory, a significant number of church fathers were invented, and the existing New Testament underwent a process of rewriting in that particular location. We are discussing this period, a period of late-stage reformism, of Christianity, my beloved ones, where the invention of the printing press in Mainz around 1440 occurred at precisely the opportune moment. I am not stating what I assert. I am simply going to quote Edwin Johnson now, at this particular moment in time. Edwin Johnson truly supports his theories in his book titled Big Action. According to his claim, the church states that the earliest date for reliable news can be traced back to the year 1533, making it the most trustworthy source. Johnson also states that the, let's call them the counterfeit dens, were located in the following places. He mentioned Bobbio, a town located in Italy, Monte Cassino as well, Fulda, a city situated in Germany, Saint-Denis and Saint-Germain in Paris, both of which are located in France. One of the most prominent players should have been Johannes Trittenheim, also referred to as Johann from Trittenheim, a key figure in the industry. The theses put forth in Johnson's book are, well, let's just say they are undeniably theses of immense importance and profound impact. However, up until this very day, no one has been able to provide a valid argument that refutes it in any way, shape, or form. Johnson writes about a gentleman named Constantine von Tischendorf in his published book. That is an extremely important person. He has a strong desire to acquire one of the oldest biblical writings in human history, namely the Codex Sinaiticus, as its name suggests. So they make a claim to have discovered something at the Sinai location. So there is this individual named Constantine Simonides, right? Well, he goes and claims that he actually wrote this codex himself in the year 1840 as a fake manuscript, deliberately created to deceive others about its origin and authenticity. So this individual named Constantine von Tischendorf claims that he discovered it at Sinai, but this other individual named Constantine Simonides is like, nah, I totally forged that thing in the year 1840. You couldn't have just found that there so easily. You got to say this about Constantine Simonides. He was actually considered one of the biggest frauds in writing and Bible forgery of his time. The person they are referring to is the one who allegedly made revisions to the Bible, according to popular belief. Tischendorf recounted an unbelievable narrative regarding his purported finding, describing in detail how he allegedly acquired possession of the ancient and invaluable Codex Sinaiticus manuscript. According to his account, he obtained entry to the St. Catherine's Monastery, also known as the Monastery of St. Catherine, in a remarkable manner similar to Indiana Jones, and discovered the codex inside a basket. Based on his narrative, he promptly identified it as a crucial document, an important biblical text from the 4th century, realizing its significance without delay. Sentry took action and successfully saved the code from a basket, just in the nick of time, as the monks were on the brink of setting it on fire and destroying it completely. According to his statement, he rescued this code from a fire. You may be interested to know that there are numerous writings in a monastery similar to this one. And of course, he noticed a scroll in a basket from a distance of a few meters and immediately recognized that it was one of the most significant biblical scriptures from the 4th century. Well, that is quite obvious. And regarding the basket that was supposedly going to be set on fire afterwards, because we associate basket with trash can, it is actually true that at that particular time, a countless number of monasteries stored their valuable scrolls in baskets for safekeeping purposes. So the question here would be whether they should actually be ignited or not. The account was in all likelihood fabricated because not a single aspect of it was grounded in truth or had any basis in reality whatsoever. It simply sounds totally adventurous. The thrilling aspect is, it was not even a falsehood when the church made the claim that this manuscript, which dates back to the 4th century, is an authentic and invaluable piece of history. However, it is also not the complete truth. We are aware that half of the truth is typically an almost entirely false statement. Yes, the leather was sourced from the 4th century. However, the writing on it did not date back to that time period. It was typical for a papyrus to be written on multiple occasions, given the nature of its production. Materials were extremely costly at that particular time. I can suggest the book The Odyssey of a Forger, written by Rudiger Schappert, to you. He vividly describes the thrilling and adventurous tale of Constantine Simonides, who cunningly fooled Europe and effortlessly reinvented the world of antiquity. Simonides took a few old papyrus sheets and wrote a different text on them, but he used a much lighter shade of ink, so it appeared as though it were. His text is the one that is older in comparison to the others. The leaves had a genuine look because they were real. They were truly completely and totally finished with it. You could actually perceive the potential fraudulent activity present in the content with your own eyes. Simonides, you have to say, was in tune with the spirit of the 19th century. He did nothing but what the spirit of the times demanded, because during this time, people were really searching in the dust and dirt for evidence of their ancestors in order to understand their own present and being conscious of one's beginnings. It was similar to the era of exploration. It was only natural that one would have a preference for finding what they wanted to find. In addition to the significant counterfeits he presented to the church, he also pretended to have discovered writings attributed to Homer, Anacreon, and Pythagoras, further enhancing his deceitful reputation. However, they were equally as counterfeit. In 1855, the Leipzig University Library purchased 3 sheets of a letter believed to be from Hermas for 5,000 thaler, buying them from him as part of their collection. However, as a result of the suspicion of fraud, he ultimately found himself incarcerated in jail for a brief period of time. Schaper writes in his book that Simonides, in a convoluted construct, let's call it that, has to constantly generate new falsehoods from falsehoods. Once you start lying, you have to keep up the lie. He was kind of living in ancient times with one foot and in jail with the other. And even if we could make the assumption that manuscripts from the 3rd century were available, and if the texts from the century were actually supposed to be genuine, we still find completely different texts in some cases. Once again, in today's Bible, we find an illustrative example that resonates with us. The Gospel of Mark is believed to be the oldest. You can find the account of Jesus' resurrection and ascension in chapter 16 of Mark's Gospel. Now it's getting exciting. The conclusion of this chapter is happening today with verse 20. However, when examining the ancient scriptures, we notice the absence of all verses starting from 8. This raises the question of the origin of verses 9 to 20. Okay, until 8. I generated a concise overview of prior writings in which verses 9 to 20 are absent and not included in the text. Here I make reference to the Sinaiticus Codex itself, the Vaticanus Codex, as well as the manuscript from the 12th century that is written in minuscule script. Century, the Sinai Sira, which is supposed to be from the 4th century until the 5th century. The translation of Coctean can be traced back to the 4th century, and the Armenian translation around 400 AD, Chris. Even church fathers like Clement of Alexandria, who died around 250 AD, Sir Origenes, who is very well known, 254 AD. Chris died and Eusebius died in 339 AD. In the past, they had little knowledge about the resurrection and ascension. Let's compare John 5:7 and make sure to take note of the following details. In the 2000 edition of the Butcher's version, it states the following in John 5:7, because there are three individuals who testified in the realm of heaven according to the available evidence. The Father, the Word, and the Holy, the Spirit, and these three are united as one, forming a singular entity. In the Elberfelder Bible, on the other hand, it says, because there are three who testify to it. What the Luther Bible of 2017 says against, due to the fact that there are three individuals who provide testimony in support of this. So they attempted to clarify the concept of the Trinity in what I like to refer to as the Battle of the Bible. Now, let's simply plunge in and explore without hesitation or reservation. Historical accounts suggest that it was Erasmus of Rotterdam who forged this in the year 1517 AD, according to popular belief. The Church desires to convey that salvation can be achieved through numerous sacraments and rituals, yet it conceals from us the fact that every individual possesses the divine creative power and energy within their own being. The Church Fathers are the individuals who have been chosen as intermediaries between God and the people in religious matters. That deceptive act fooled a staggering number of over 1 billion people and continues to do so up until this very day. It's a solution. It's strange, but now it gets even more interesting that the Codex Sinaiticus dates back to the 19th century. It was described in every corner and aspect of the century that its paper is extremely white, pure, and pristine, with no stains, marks, or blemishes whatsoever. The 694 pages appeared to be in very, very good condition. But if you take a look at the copy from the 19th, as the century goes on, it suddenly appears very dark and mottled. Was it someone who spilled coffee on it by any chance? Are you completely prepared now? The renowned researcher Stephen Avery provides a description stating that until the year 1850, the entire codex, which included the Septuagint of the Old Testament, along with all the embedded Apocrypha, the New Testament, and the letters of Barnabas, was widely acknowledged and accepted as genuine and authentic by scholars and experts in the field. 2 sections were taken out and given to the King of Saxony. Consequently, they broke up and went their separate ways. This item is presently referred to as the Codex Friderico Augustinus in the contemporary era. He is currently white in color, and this remains unchanged up to the present day. Hischendorf was absolutely certain that the original texts he had in his possession were of the color white, and he had no doubt about their authenticity. Following the act of holding them in his hand, they were subsequently described as having a dark yellow coloration from that point onward. Tischendorf was knowledgeable and had access to the information, being well informed about the matter at hand. Either he fabricated the forgery himself, or he was aware of the person who did it and chose not to disclose the information. Maintain the secret exclusively, avoid disclosing it to anyone else. What does Lucas 8:17 say about it so beautifully? Because nothing is hidden that will not be revealed, nor anything secret that will not be made known. Ensure you become and show up on the designated day without fail. In a similar manner, in Matthew 10:27, the things that I tell you in the darkness, speak in the daylight, and the things that are whispered in your ear, proclaim from the rooftops. And that is precisely what we are doing right now. We currently reside in an era where, thanks to the advancements in technology, the widespread availability of the internet, and the definitive end of witch hunts, we have the remarkable capability to gradually bring forth and illuminate numerous truths that were once hidden or obscured from public knowledge. In summary, I would like to emphatically restate to you once again that if the Codex Sinaiticus were to be determined as a forgery, it would unquestionably have profound and far-reaching implications that cannot be overstated. It would not signify anything else apart from the fact that we would need to question virtually all of the sacred texts that have been derived from this particular Codex manuscript. Because many things are fake, as we all know from numerous videos of mine and all of you, certainly from others as well, without a doubt, the question needs to be asked and it needs to be called into question. And as per the author Wilhelm Kammeyer and his publication, The Forgery of German History, nearly all religious writings are counterfeit. They do possess the exact same characteristics and qualities as each other. That is what they refer to as the so-called pseudo-epigrapha. When confronting the church and dogmatic believers in the Bible with the forgeries and endless atrocities found in the Bible, they simply refuse to believe any of it and are unwilling to listen to any of the evidence presented. What cannot be must not be. And then there are these imaginative arguments that are thrown in, like, for example, the notion that God has a hand in it is introduced as one of those arguments. The Bible is held in a manner that ensures nothing can be falsified or tampered with in any way. What these individuals rapidly forget, however, is the reality that God has bestowed upon us the freedom to choose. He never stopped people from counterfeiting that thing or forging documents in general. However, he helps all truth seekers to recognize the truth. Check out John 8:32, because you will recognize the truth, and the truth will set you free and liberate you from the chains of falsehood. He did not make us mindless, my dears. We were created as free spirits with a free will. We retain our autonomy and the ability to choose. And all individuals present here on earth are subject to these cosmic laws, including duality, polarity, and the hermetic laws that govern the universe and its workings. The person who is primarily concerned about the law in this location, anyone who is knowledgeable about planting and harvesting knows this, because Jesus has already preached about this in the Sermon on the Mount. But the church has never really taught us to elevate ourselves as mediators between people and God. We are present on earth, my beloved and dear individuals. In order to elevate our souls and uplift our spirits, we strive. And even the dark side must respect our free will. That is why it is crucial for us to become conscious of our consciousness. Consider before you think. In this sense, my dears, I trust I have furnished you with a couple of intriguing particulars once more. Bless you.